Hi everyone, I have a lot of things that I've been wanting to talk about, and as always I'm not sure where to begin, but I wasn't really planning to make my last video. That wasn't what I was planning to talk about yesterday, but I was just inspired to do a video about this song. Okay, this song is called One Headlight. It's by Wildflowers, the name of the group. And like I said, I wasn't planning to make a video about this song. I was actually just gonna look at the song and listen to the lyrics because I heard it the day before, and I was just curious about the lyrics. And when I read the lyrics, I immediately understood that it was talking about the Bible, the story of the Bible. I used to always just think it was a song with some random lyrics that just didn't make sense, but once I actually read the lyrics, I could clearly understand that it was talking about the story of the Bible. And I wrote an interpretation over here, a short interpretation. I just said Jesus is the headlight, Cinderella is the bride, Eve, his only friend that died in the garden. The middle is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and our current condition of being trapped in the middle between good and evil. And so I had some questions that came up, and some comments that came up that were interesting about the Garden of Eden. And so I want to try to explain that first, because originally what I wanted to do is I wanted to get back to the video that I did before, which was on May 27th, and this is from the video file here. I just pulled up the video file instead of the video, but I wanted to get back to what I really wanted to talk about, which was the Fuller's field, and explain that. That was actually the whole reason why I made those two videos about May 27th. I got accused of being a rapture date setter, even though in the title I had put a question mark next to May 27th, and I had clearly said in the beginning of the video that it's not so much about a rapture date, but I just wanted to share some things that I thought were interesting, and yet I got accused of being a rapture date setter because I put a date with a question mark next to it in the title. But I think it worked out for the best that I did this video first, because I really do think I need to explain some things about the Garden of Eden before I explain the Fuller's field and what was being talked about. In this table that I did almost 2 years ago, as I had explained in that video, this was a table that I just happened to do, and I realized that it was describing all the details, or many of the details, that were in Natan's testimony. And part of what was in that video that I had talked about was the Fuller's field. And so I want to explain what the Fuller's field is. And at the time I didn't fully understand what the Fuller's field is. No pun intended there, but I understand in hindsight is always 20/20, and so in hindsight, after everything that I understood about Hezekiah's tunnel, this makes a lot more sense. And so that's what I really wanted to try to explain, but I had to lead up to it by explaining how I came up with the information and how I understood what I understood. Okay, before I get into it, I want to take a little detour and talk about another video that I saw the other day. This was by Jonathan Kleck, and in this part of the video he's talking about a commercial about Strongbow beer, and I'll show you a little clip of this commercial. But what I want to explain is that I actually understood what the bow represents a long time ago. It was actually sometime before Christmas, and I'll show you the video. I try to explain it in a music video. Okay, it was this video over here. It's called 2017 Noah's Ark, the Glory of the Lord. Are you ready? And like I said, I made this video sometime around Christmas. It was on January 8th. And over here in the description, I put, get ready to see the glory of the Lord. If you're not on the ark, now's the time to get on board. By the way, if you don't understand this video, here's a hint. Look for a common denominator. And I'm sure that no one understood this video. I got a lot of really nice comments on this video. It was actually before I started talking a little bit more about the consummation of the covenant and things like that. So I'm sure no one really understood the underlying theme of this video, but the common denominator that I was talking about here was the bow. And so I'm going to play this video first, and then I'll go back to the commercial. Okay, now I'm going to show you this commercial, but I just want to say, first of all, that this is actually not Satan's plan. This is God's plan. Satan is just an imitator, and he just copies everything God does. And what I've come to realize is that the Bible is full of innuendos, and God came up with these innuendos thousands of years ago, and Satan is just now apparently figuring it out, or it's being revealed at this time. But like I said, this is God's plan. It's not Satan's plan. Satan's plan is this. It's the mark of the beast, and I can talk more about that later. So that's Satan's plan, but this is God's plan.
That was quite an interesting poster, wasn't it? Let's watch this commercial. Strong though.
New Strongbow Gold Alcohol Cider. The explosive taste of meat.
Okay, it's actually the same plan that was depicted in a Simpsons episode, which I might show that a little bit later. But getting back to Hezekiah's tunnel and the fuller's field, this is actually how God is going to fix everything. And I just want to say that these images are really not easy to find. If you just put in Hezekiah's tunnel, you're just going to get pictures of the tunnel. You're not going to get an overview of what it looks like. The way I came up with these images is when I was doing some research on Ezekiel 47. I just wanted to see how the water flowed from the temple threshold. So I just put in Ezekiel 47 temple threshold, and that's where I saw this image. I never would have been able to find an image like that if I wasn't searching. If you just put in City of David or, you know, some other terms, you're not going to get an image of the entire complex of the City of David and the temple and the wall all around it, like this image over here. I had actually forgotten how I even found these images, and I had to like retrace my steps, and then I recorded the terms that I had put in. I had saved the terms that I had put in so I could find the images again, because they're not easy to find. Okay, so getting back to this table that mentions the fuller's field, it was on April, wheat field, Pentecost, war, Syria, Iran, Satan. These were just some of the terms that were coming up in that table. And like I said, it was coming up in Isaiah 6 and 7, and it was in verse 3 where it talked about Hezekiah's tunnel, where it says, Then said Jehovah unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Shear Jashub, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. And so at the time when I was doing this table, I was curious about the term fuller's field. I didn't know what a fuller was, so I had to look up the definition. Okay, so if you look at the word in the Hebrew for the word fuller, you see that it says it means to wash, to be washed, to perform the work of a fuller, a washer, a fuller, to wash garments, to be washed out. Okay, when you look at this word in the Greek, it's only used one time, and that's in Mark 9:3. Okay, and I'll just read it from over here because that was the interlinear, but I'll read it from up here so you can see the image, because this was during the transfiguration, and in Mark 9:3 it says, And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth can whiten them. So this was the only use of the word fuller in the New Testament. And the Fuller's Field is located at the end of the conduit, which is Hezekiah's Tunnel, but I'm about out of time, so I'll have to continue with more in the next video. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.